What's up, guys? Nice little horror facts video today. Second video of the night, so I figured, I was feeling good after the last one, so I was like, let's go for round two, So if you see the same color shirt or whatever, that's the reason why. Yeah, I thought we'd set kind of an ambiance for the video, so I got two wood candles going on both sides of the Yeti here. Don't mind me kind of bent down like that. It's not the most comfortable, but it's gonna have to do. So yeah, without further ado, let's get it. Oh, we'll come chillin' too. So let's get after it. And all these facts are coming from Factinate.com. So let's go. Fact number 1. Kill, kill, kill. Ma, ma, ma. The eerie cha-cha-cha, ah-ah-ah sound effect from the Friday the 13th franchise haunts many a horror fan's dreams. But not just because random noises. Harry Manfredini, the composer of the original film, took inspiration from the line where the killer, spoiler, Pamela Voorhees, says, "Kill her, mommy," in her son Jason's voice. Manfredini reduced the words kill and mommy to ki and ma. Spoke these sounds directly into a microphone, heavily distorted them in flala. Interesting. What's her name? Betty Palmer. The funny thing about Betty Palmer is who plays Miss Voorhees in the original Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. The only reason she took the role for the movie was because her car had broken down and she needed money to repair it or something like that. So she wasn't thrilled about joining the movie, from what I've heard. Putting the cart before the horse, and also before each caption. Where's the camera? Jeez. It won't even pick up. Before each fact, there's a little header before the caption. So putting the cart before the horse. In the post-Halloween world, Sean Cunningham desperately wanted to film the next big slasher flick, and he was going to do so by any means necessary. He actually took out an ad in Variety featuring Friday the 13th's iconic logo smashing through glass, and a release date, November 1979. Oh wow. Except he had one big problem. He hadn't filmed anything yet. He didn't even have funding. Wow, what a guy. He eventually got the money and made the film, but couldn't quite get everything together by November. Friday the 13th came out in May of 1980. Jeez, man. How about Scary Camp Kill Much? What? Okay. Friday the 13th is synonymous with horror today, but it almost had a completely different name. When the film was still just Cunningham's distant pipe dream, he envisioned calling it Long Night at Camp Blood. That's not as catchy. It's not as catchy at all. I want to go there. I hope these aren't all Friday the 13th, because the fourth one is also Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th's Camp Crystal Lake was a real camp. Camp Nobi Bosco. The summer of 1979 ended. The campers all went home, and the filmmakers got free reign on the campground in September. In fact, the camp is still in operation today. Wow. Hopefully with no homicidal maniacs running around. Wow, that's crazy. I bet you they charge an arm and a leg. Just, based on the sheer fact that, the historical factor of the camp. Get out of my car. Get out of my dreams and into my car. When aging actress Betsy Palmer took the role of Pamela Voorhees in Friday the 13th, it wasn't because she believed in the project or loved the horror genre. In fact, in her words, "I desperately needed a new car. If I hadn't needed a new car, I don't think I would have done Friday the 13th. So I guess I was right. Pretty funny. Secret killers. Betsy Palmer played Pamela Voorhees, the killer in Friday the 13th, but several of the movie's early kill scenes didn't feature her at all. Filming began before the part of Pamela had been cast, and since the killer isn't shown in much of the movie, members of the crew simply stood in for the part. Wow. Interesting. In an odd coincidence, the New Jersey woods where filming took place for Friday the 13th was also the home to Rockstar Lloyd. Apparently he came by the set on occasion, and at night he even performed for the cast and crew. Fans loved the realistic gore on Friday the 13th, but there was a serious cost to creating those effects. Back in the late 70s, FX artists used safe blood and not safe blood, and it was important not to confuse the two. If the fake blood was going to be on an actor's face, then it was imperative that the safe blood would be used. Well, apparently the FX team on Friday the 13th messed up that memo. In the scene where Bill, played by Bing Crosby's son Harry of all people, is killed by arrows, the team did not use safe blood, and when it got to the actor's eye, it nearly blinded him. Wow, that's not good. Slasher. The director of Scream, Wes Craven, would hide the voice actor who played Ghostface, Roger L. Jackson, on set during shoots. When the actors would get taunting calls from the killer, they were actually hearing Roger hidden somewhere on set. That's funny. I'm a big fan of Wes Craven's catalog of films. Huge fan of Scream. It's actually probably my second favorite franchise next to Halloween. Nightmarish. In Evil Dead 2, you can see Freddy Krueger's glove above the door in the tool shed. Gotta hand it to the director. We missed this the first time. Yeah, that's funny. What's his name? Oh, goodness. The director of Evil Dead. Sam Raimi, jeez, man. Sam Raimi's pretty funny with his little slight cameos. Obviously, the Bruce Campbell one's pretty evident if you guys are fans of horror movies. But yeah, that's funny. It took about a year of technical work to get the blood pouring out of the elevator just right for the iconic scene in The Shining, but it only took 3 days to film once they were able to consistently achieve the desired effect. Great flick. I was gonna say great part and great flick, so I stumbled. Great flick, great part, book, great movie, great acting, great everything. Even though Stephen King isn't a fan of Stanley Kubrick's interpretation. Sissy Spacek was chillingly devoted to her role as the titular Carrie. To avoid breaking continuity, Spacek decided to sleep in bloody clothes for 3 days while filming the film's prom scene. Looks like she's willing to bleed for her art. Wow, Jesus. I'm not the biggest fan of Carrie, to be honest with you. I respect it, but I don't ever sit around and be like, I want to watch Carrie tonight, you know? John Carpenter hid many homages to Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho in Halloween. He even cast Jamie Lee Curtis, the daughter of Psycho star Janet Leigh, as the lead in Halloween. And she ended up becoming one of the greatest final girls of all time. The thing with a movie called Halloween is that you kind of need it to be set in October. The only problem was it had to be shot in the spring in order to have it ready for a fall release, in order to give the movie the proper ambiance. Production designer Tommy Lee Wallace personally painted dozens of bags of fake leaves to spread all over the exteriors of the sets. However, anyone paying close attention would notice that the neighborhood trees look curiously green for October 31st. Wow. Danny Lloyd, the actor who played Danny in The Shining, wasn't told that he was shooting a horror movie. Danny believed he was going to film a drama. Wow, he must have been in for a rude freaking awakening when Jack Nicholson started running after him with a fucking axe. Jeez, man. Jeez. Also, my apologies if I switch up the tone of whisper throughout this gradually. My throat throat's not used to whispering for so long anymore, so I gotta kind of adjust the different inflections of my voice sometimes. The high school janitor in Scream is named Fred and wears a green and red sweater as a nod to Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, which Wes Craven also directed. The janitor was played by Craven himself. Filming the Blair Witch Project was utterly harrowing for Heather Donahue, one of the film's lead actors. She was worried that the director was making a snuff film and had taken her and the other two cast members out to the woods to kill them. Holy shit. Luckily for her and all of us, she was wrong. The film only took 8 days to shoot. Oh my goodness, could you imagine getting hired to be an actress in a movie and then as you show up believing you're gonna be actually killed by the director? Like, wow. Jeez, man. Where am I? There we go. To film the Pronotion. I can't spell, sorry. To film the Pronotion scene in Final Destination 3, the actors had to ride the roller coaster 26 times. It must have been an emotional roller coaster having to ride that roller coaster over and over again. That was a terrible joke. I wish I didn't read that last part. Final Destination was originally an idea for an episode of The X-Files that never got written. And then they stretched it out to like 6 movies. Classic. Virginia Madsen, the lead actor in Candyman, wasn't sure if she should take the role. If she passed, the producers were considering giving the role to Sandra Bullock, who was relatively unknown at the time. Psycho was the first time a flushing toilet was shown on screen. Countless poop jokes have followed. In order to make Samara's walk even creepier, the Ring filmmaker shot the actor walking backward and then reversed the shot. Oh, Jesus. I can see that scene in my head right now. I'm not a fan. Oh, creepy. In all of Nosferatu, Max Schreck, the actor who plays Count Orlok, only blinked once. That's once in a 1 hour and 34-minute long film. His eyes must have been dry when the filming was around. Jeez. The Exorcist was the first horror film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. The movie would go on to rack up a total of 10 nominations and would win 3. Jeez, man. I mean, if that would happen today, that would be like monumentally historical. Horror movies don't really get a lot of recognition at the Oscars. The Shark in Jaws, also let me just say, a little unwarranted. Not a fan of The Exorcist. Good movie for the time, like, you know, with all things considered, respected for the lineage it has produced. Not a fan of the movie though. Even as a kid, it didn't even like scare me. The shark in Jaws doesn't appear in the film till about an hour and 21 minutes. While part of the reason behind this is to build suspense, the biggest reason behind it was that the mechanical shark built for the film rarely worked as intended. The end result is a truly terrifying entrance. I agree. Shout out Steven Spielberg for that masterpiece of a movie. It took over 7 years to get Aliens made. Talk of a sequel began shortly after the success of the first film, but disputes over money from the producers delayed the project. Well, I'm happy it came out because Aliens 2 is one of the greatest sequels of all time. I feel like everyone knows this one. The mask Michael Myers wears in Halloween is a stretched out, whitewashed Captain Kirk mask from Star Trek. A double amputee stood in for Richard Dysart for the scene in The Thing where Dr. Cooper has his arm chopped off by Norris's chest cavity jaw. The special effects designer found a double amputee to participate and made prosthetics with wax bones and jelly veins. Once the mechanical jaws closed down, the actors pulled his arms back, causing him to sever and produce horrific visuals. Folks, I beg you, if you've never seen or haven't seen in a while, John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982, please watch it. It has some of, if not the greatest practical effects in the history of cinema. Absolutely in the history of horror, if you ask me. Nightmare on Elm Street has some pretty good ones too, but oh my gosh, guys. It's phenomenal. Great movie as well, but phenomenal. Kurt Russell threw an actual stick of dynamite while filming The Thing. The explosion was allegedly more powerful than the actor anticipated, and Russell was thrown back by the inducing blast. Carpenter wasn't complaining though. Russell wasn't hurt, and the unexpected shot looked so good he put in the final cut of the movie. John Carpenter and Kurt Russell are kind of like that, the joke I made earlier about Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. Except Bruce Campbell, I guess they had all the Evil Deads. It's two sets of directors and actors who have a lot of history together. You know, it's cool when you see an actor and a director make a connection like that. It's very cool. The Thing pushed visual effects to a new level, but progressive it was not. Aside from the voice of McReady's computer, there isn't a single woman in the entire cast. That's true. I was trying to think about like the Norwegians or Swedish. I forget what nationality the group was. I know in the 2011 remake they had women. Interesting. The beauty of Halloween is in its simplicity. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wrote the entire script in just 10 days. Jeez, man. That makes me jealous. The production team of the Blair Witch Project used pre-programmed GPS trackers to lead the actors to plastic canisters hidden in the woods. The canisters contained the directions that the characters were going in on that day. But they were told not to share the directions with each other. Everything else was improvised by the actors. I'm not a fan of the Blair Witch, to be honest with you. I'm not a found footage type of guy. I mean, I can be, but not with that. Believe it or not, but Paranormal Activity is the most profitable movie of all time. With an initial budget of $15,000, the movie went on to gross $193 million nationwide. That's over 1,000,000% return on investment. That's absolutely insane. And I just go from saying I'm not a fan of found footage, but I do like some of the Paranormal Activities. I actually like most of them. It's usually always pretty nonchalant until the last 5-10 minutes of the movie. Scream was originally entitled Scary Movie, but the Weinstein brothers changed the name after hearing Michael Jackson's song Scream in their car. Before Joel and his brother Cohen were a famous writer-director duo. Joel was an assistant editor on Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. He was inspired by Sam's pitch trailer, eventually making one for his own movie, Blood Simple. Gene Hackman was slated to star in Silence of the Lambs, but decided to pull out of the project after he saw a clip of himself at the 1989 Oscars as FBI agent Alan Parker from Mississippi Burning. He didn't want to follow up such a dark character with an even darker one. The creature from the Black Lagoon was modeled after the Oscar statue given to the winners of the award. The craft wanted to ensure all the witchcraft they were portraying was authentic, so they hired is a member of a large Wiccan religious organization known as the Covenant of the Goddess, and the organization's first officer for their Southern California local council. Okay, talking about witchcraft and shit like that, when I'm sitting in the pitch dark with candles, a little sketchy. Not a fan of that at all. Not a fan. John Carpenter used an actual house to film Halloween, and it's still standing today, though not in its original location. For years it sat on 709 Meridian Avenue in South Pasadena, Jesus. It sat in South Pasadena, California. But in 1987 it was lined up to be demolished. To save it, the house was relocated to 1000 Mission Street in South Pasadena, and it was eventually named a historic landmark. Both the Hollywood Reporter and Variety published spoilers for the film Psycho months before it was released, despite Hitchcock's best effort to keep the ending a secret. Also, sorry if you just heard something in the background. I have absolutely no idea what that was. To be straight up with you. It was something on, in a different room. And I'm just gonna ignore it until all these lights are on. Because, I don't want to deal with ghosts in the pitch dark. One of the most chilling scenes in Silence of the Lambs almost wasn't intended at all. Buffalo Bill's famous dance scene wasn't in the script, though it was in the book. Ted Levine, the actor who played Bill, was insistent that the scene be included to help the audience understand the demented character better. A man sued Warner Brothers for injuries he obtained from fainting after attending a screening of The Exorcist. Warner Brothers settled the deal out of court, which usually means big bucks. Stanley Kubrick thought Robert De Niro wasn't psychotic enough for the role of Jack in The Shining. The decision was made after Kubrick watched Taxi Driver. The original title for Halloween was The Babysitter Murders. Okay, terrible name. The vomit used in The Exorcist was Anderson's pea soup. The special effects team tried using Campbell's pea soup, but they weren't happy with the way it looked. Jack Nicholson was once considered for the role of Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. The role would eventually go to Anthony Hopkins, who would be perfect for the part. Church the cat in Pet Sematary was actually played by 7 different cats. I should rewatch that movie and keep an eye out for that now. God, I love that movie. I actually love the remake of that movie too. The robe Ghostface wears in Scream was originally supposed to be white, to better show the blood and gore once he got busy. Wes Craven had to change it because he feared it looked too much like the robes of the Ku Klux Klan. That's a good decision. Yeah. That's a good choice to turn that black instead of white. The original Saw film only took 18 days to film due to its limited use of sets. Shout out James Wan. I'm not a Saw fan. I've watched a fair amount of them. I just don't really like torture when it comes to horror and stuff like that. And hardcore stuff like that. That's why I'm not really a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects. I actually prefer both of those movies over the Saw franchise, but it's not my cup of tea. I'll watch them, but rarely, because it's not my favorite. The The cocoons used in Silence of the Lambs were made of gummy bears and Tootsie Rolls. Pennywise's hair was actor Tim Curry's actual hair in the original It miniseries. The only thing production did was dye it red and style it to give it a crazy look. Crazy. The scariest thing that I ever experienced in my life was watching that 90s miniseries as a kid. I mean, there's very few horror movies that really got me as a kid. It was definitely Halloween. I'm not even sure which Halloween it was. It was just Michael Myers in general. I remember always thinking to be coming out of my closet. And it was Pennywise. Like, it was Pennywise bad. Like, Chucky kind of freaked me out. Freddy I didn't give a shit about. Jason got me a little on edge, but nobody got me like Pennywise did. Even Michael, it was like, it's terrifying. I still prefer that miniseries opposed to the remake that they made recently. I do like the part 1, chapter 1 of the It remake, but chapter 2 I'm not a fan of. Aside from Bill Hader, I think it's awful. Bosco chocolate syrup was used as blood in the original Night of the Living Dead. The film was shot in black and white, and chocolate syrup had a similar appearance to blood on black and white screens. Classic. Oh jeez. Now we're getting serial killer-esque. Serial killer Ed Gein was so twisted, he had inspired 3 major horror films. These were Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs. Not to mention a lot of cheesy straight-to-video movies. Heads up, this is gonna get a little graphic, so feel free to skip 10 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear about this stuff. When police raided his farm, they discovered masks, bowls, and lampshades made of human skin, decapitated heads, and even a belt made of nibbles. I mean, do you guys like true crime? Because, like, I have mixed opinions, because, like, I like horror, so I tend to like true crime that's related to paranormal or something. But true crime as a whole really kind of messes me up. Like, I don't know. I think it would be kind of cool to go over, like, some paranormal related true crime cases, like Amityville Horror with the DeFeos and stuff like that. Yeah, like, I think, let me know what you guys think. I think that'd be kind of cool to do, like, a little series of that. The Thing has a famously dark ending, but the film's editor, Todd Ramsey, was worried that such a bleak finale wouldn't test well. Just in case, he told Carpenter to film a second ending, one where McGrady is rescued and takes a blood test, which proved he wasn't assimilated by the Thing. To the relief of fans everywhere, while the scene was filmed, Carpenter stood firm to his original vision. Tony Todd, the actor who played the titular character in Candyman, had to go to disturbing lengths for the film. He actually put real bees in his mouth to film the movie's climax. What? I can imagine the ending of that movie right now, the original one. Holy crap. Okay, that's another movie I gotta rewatch just for the sheer appreciation. So I got Pet Sematary and Candyman. Let's go. 2 great flicks to watch. Stanley Kubrick is thought to have personally typed out 500 pages of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy that were used in The Shining. What? But it's not known for sure whether that's true. Kubrick never addressed the rumors before his death. Jeez, man. I mean, listen, someone who directed A Clockwork Orange would definitely do something like this. Jeez, that's crazy. Okay, this is the last fact. Also, The Shining, when Jack's wife realizes like that he hadn't actually done any work and it was just that, it's like, oh, such a great, powerful moment. Because I don't have to explain the genius of The Shining, but oh, I freaking love that movie. Okay, I'll add The Shining to the list to watch too. Okay, this is the last one. The Halloween novelization revealed that Michael's great-grandfather killed a couple at a harvest dance on Halloween. Great-grandpa Myers then identified his victims by name before he was hanged, even though he'd never met them, saying he heard the names in his dreams. So is that kind of like the Curse of Thorn, or the Cult of Thorn type of thing? Like, are they trying to, I bet you like that was a novelization that they were trying to say, like, probably like after Halloween 4, or like probably during the production of Halloween 4 or something. Because like obviously 3 was the anthology, 2 they didn't have any plans to go forward, and then 4, 5, 6 was all the Cult of Thorn type of thing. Real interesting. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you learned some interesting horror movie related facts. I hope you found it a little spooky. And yeah, listen, I'm a real nerd for this type of stuff. Like, I like to nerd out when it comes to horror movies. Like, I watch like, okay, that wasn't just me. You just heard that too, right? Please tell me that just picked up on camera. Okay. Well, that was very creepy. I'm happy to know that just picked up on camera. I don't know what that was. I want to like end this right now to see if that picked up. Okay. Man, if I put this in the title of the video, as people are gonna think it's clickbait. They're like, oh, you didn't actually hear anything? Like, bro,